Hi, welcome to the first episode of Evidence for Jesus. So this basically is a segment of just giving some evidence for Jesus. And of course, we have faith in Jesus, not by what we see, but just by believing in God alone. But God says that in Romans that, the truth of God is evident through, the earth, the stars, the sky, the moon, the sun. So, in a way, there is sort of already evidence for God. And let's take it a step further and look at evidence for Jesus. So, evidence number one for this episode is the evidence for Jesus starts with the place of his birth, Bethlehem. The Church of Nativity is generally considered a credible historical site, with the traditional cave of Christ's birth being marked by the ornate Star of Bethlehem. Terrace hills containing shepherds' flocks still encircle the small city. On the Sea of Galilee, Christ's childhood town of Nazareth is still active today. In addition, ancient harbors matching the biblical record have been located in recent drought circles. In fact, a first-century Galilean fishing boat was recently unearthed from the mud and it was found preserved. Although we have no idea who the boat belonged to, it matches the biblical record of the vessels used by Christ's disciples. So, one huge evidence of Jesus is the presence of the nation of Israel. Israel is still here today. Of course, it was established as a nation. I believe that was 1947. And it was, I believe, right before the end of World War II. If I'm not mistaken, World War II ended in, I think, 1946 or so. But I don't have that right in front of me. But the purpose of this is focusing on Jesus. So, the one huge evidence is the nation of Israel. And of course, if you haven't been there, like me, I would love to go to Israel, and you would see just the presence of people who believe in both Jesus and then the Jewish people who believe in God. So in this one statement for this first fact, one evidence is the city of Bethlehem is still a city today in Israel. And it goes into that the Bible is sort of not a made-up book, because Bethlehem is a real place in the world that you can go to today. Okay, so the next fact is his last days and crucifixion. Is the evidence of Jesus in the events leading to his crucifixion starts across the Kidron Valley from Jerusalem at the Mount of Olives. There, we can walk through ancient olive trees to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus prayed before his capture. Then, we can look back across the Kidron Valley to the Golden Gate, where Christ entered Jerusalem for his trial, scourging, and death. So again, that plays into the first fact that we discovered of Bethlehem existing. The second one is that the Mount of Olives is still there today, and the biblical record matches what is actually considered as the real place in Israel. So that is great. I've noticed that archaeology is still very prominent. You can watch a lot of different archaeology videos online, but if you were to actually go over to Israel, I'm sure you would see a lot of different archaeology sites and different things going on, and they are uncovering more and more things, just like the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, and it just opened up the door to a whole bunch of different scholars and what they can relate to in regards to faith in God and Jesus. Okay, so the next fact or evidence is a burial box linked to the Jesus's crucifixion, and I actually saw something like this online the other day, and in my mind, and from television, from cool like little cartoons of biblical cartoons, or even just the real life kind of rendition of Jesus, I've always imagined, and when I read the gospel, I've imagined Jesus's tomb being a circle, kind of a cave in the wall, and a huge stone rolled over it. But they say a 2,000-year-old burial box inscribed with the name of a relative of Caiaphas, the high priest of the New Testament, who played a key role in the trial and crucifixion of Jesus, was confirmed to be authentic by Israeli experts. Scholars widely believe that the burial box is genuine of that, and that it could serve as an important confirmation for the New Testament story because it proves Caiaphas existed. Wow, and I've also seen something online, and I recommend searching it as well, but you can definitely tell that most historians believe in Jesus. He's even found in other religions, but most historians believe that Jesus, he is a real person that existed, and it's just that the faith comes into play when we believe that Jesus is God, and he was not just a person that was famous, but he was the person with a purpose. So, okay, so here we go. That before that fact about the burial box of Caiaphas, I was first thinking that it was the burial box of Jesus, and that's the documentary that I saw that they tried to find, at least from my kind of looking at that video. It was sort of a burial box of Jesus, and not necessarily someone that was kind of alive during Jesus' time, And one of my own personal beliefs is that people love to write books. People love to document their life. Obviously, just like this video, it's not documenting my life, but necessarily people love to record interesting things. And so the whole purpose of the Bible is it's a group of people that are related, but they're not alive at the same time. And they're just they're writing down amazing, interesting things that they have seen or heard or discovered. So I found that, when Ecclesiastes says that of the making of books there is no end. It's just, I'm sure you see what I'm saying, but people write down, a lot. And so it's not sort of crazy to have someone that was alive during Jesus' time to write down the things that they have seen, so it's not necessarily crazy to have that. So that's kind of my own thoughts about, another evidence for Jesus being who he said he was, and the Bible actually being true. So, okay, fact number 4, I think it is that the burial bed in which Jesus was laid on after his crucifixion was discovered in a once-in-a-lifetime tomb excavation. So I'll think about posting this picture in this video, but basically it's what I was talking about earlier, was kind of a hole cut out in a rock, and then a huge rolling stone is next to it. And so the Christian story says that Jesus' body was laid on a burial bed and enclosed in a tomb before being resurrected and ascending to heaven several days later. A shrine protecting a tomb located in what is now the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is widely believed to be the location where Jesus was crucified and laid to rest. So, and of course the Christian story is not just about Jesus' death. It's about he was brought back to life, you know? And that doesn't seem crazy when we're alive now. And why is it so hard for God to just bring us back to life? Like, it seems like it's easy to understand even from, just kind of being alive now. Like, I'm 28 years old, it doesn't seem too out of the question, so the one of the things of Christian faith is, it's not just that Jesus died for our sins, but God brought him back to life to give us faith. And yeah, so that's all that I want to talk about today. And thank you for tuning in to the Evidence for Jesus. And I will see you on the next episode. So see ya. Thank you.